Hi guys, this is a review of the Xiaomi robot vacuum cleaner. Not sure if it's pronounced that way, I've just heard it done before. It's Xiaomi or something like that. And I'm just doing a short review in comparison with just two other robots that I've experienced. And this one here, it's from China and it comes with all the Chinese instructions. So you have to actually download the English version, which you can't. You've got to just look at that on the computer, and then you can actually get an English pack, which is great. It actually talks to you, you understand what it's saying. Now, as an overview, it's got lots of sensors. It's got a sonic sensor in the front underneath, which I don't know if you can see there. It's got sensors, drop sensors. Charging. And it talks to you every time it does something. Simple buttons. It's got side sensors. It's got this push button sensor here. The main sensor there, God, is that laser underneath there. That's what maps your room and tells you where you're going. It's got a small dustbin, but it doesn't matter. Now that
dustbin removed.
There we go. That dustbin there fills up probably halfway every time it vacuums. So, you know, if you think it doesn't suck up,
dustbin installed.
Think again. So the only difficulty I really had was connecting it to the Wi-Fi because it was in Chinese to start off with. But after that was over with, it was really good. Now, you have other companies saying that the roundness of these isn't really good. It doesn't get in the corners. Because of that brush there, it does get in the corners. And I've had one that's not round, and it's a little bit more complicated system that in theory should have worked better, but unfortunately it didn't. Now, I'm not saying that the other brand is not good, which is has Samsung. I'll try and find a model on the internet for you. I'll return both. The Samsung was really good. It didn't do what it said it did, so there was a fault, and because it was within a week, I returned it, they replaced it. And the next one, the same thing happened, but there was a different fault, so they replaced that. Now, that could have been just two bad examples, but I wasn't willing to take a third chance, so I got a refund, and I decided to take a chance on this one. Now, there's not much I knew about it at the time. I did as much reading as I could, but there's not a lot on the net about it. I'll show you how it works and everything in a minute, but I have to say that for the money, this is the best robot ever. It's half the price of the Samsung, and Samsung was pretty cheap. So this is retails around about $395, and money well worth spending, in my opinion. So it handles most things, but it does not handle fluffy rugs. So that has to be pulled up each time. So there is a few drawbacks with any robot vacuum cleaner. And of course, the reason that happens is because of these brushes underneath here. It comes with a cutter to get rid of anything it picks up like that cotton. But you only have to do that probably once every 4 weeks or something like that. On top of that, there's other things it doesn't like. It doesn't like these sort of ridges. So just stuff like that, it tries to climb them, but you can put a magnetic strip to stop it from going up there. Same with this one here, it'll go over onto a different surface, that's reasonably steep. But because it doesn't like it very much, I put a magnetic strip there, or I just close the door, bumps into it, goes away. And a third thing it doesn't like is these things here. Because it's so smooth, it climbs up, and now it does clean them, it does go around them, but I find it a lot easier because it wriggles it like this and makes all these sort of noises. I put that up as well on the bench. But apart from that, and there's another example of a small lip. If it was a big lip, it just hit into it and reverse back. But because it's just a small one, it tries to climb it. But they all do that. Now my son has a Roomba, that's just a sweeper. So here's another example too. So that actually goes quite well from that surface to that surface. This surface here, it's got a round thing like carpet to hard floor. Gets over there reasonably easy. Sometimes if it goes straight on, it'll struggle, so then it'll turn around and go sideways, which you'll probably see in the video. Generally speaking, it doesn't really have any problem with that. Now my son, as I said before, has a Roomba, and that's just a sweeper. I know they come out as more than sweepers, but the Roomba itself is a very, very good unit. Unfortunately, for price comparison, heaps better, and a fraction of the price. So here we go. It's as easy as this. It does have Wi-Fi, so you can control it with your phone, so it doesn't matter where you are. You can actually access it. If you're on holiday, just think, oh, I forgot the vacuum, or I want a vacuum before I get home. You just go onto your phone and you can start it, providing that your room is prepared. It doesn't like small toys either, but that's okay. We haven't got small kids. So all you do is a home button, which if you're sick of it cleaning, then you just push home. If you want it to start, you push start, which I'm about to do now. Just one other thing though, it does do spot cleaning, so you can use your phone and the Wi-Fi and use the remote control there, and it'll just go and clean up something and then goes back home again. So here we go.
Starting the cleanup.
So it starts by mapping the immediate area, so you have to have a little bit of gap from any objects each side of it. As you can tell, it's turned around, it wouldn't map my legs there to here. So once it does this bit, it then goes on and cleans. So it's just trying to find out where it is, making sure it's in the right spot. A little sweeper gets into all the corners. So it does this little tradition every time it starts. Now I'll just speed all this up because it's boring watching vacuuming, unless of course you're drinking a wine whilst doing it. So this is the lounge room with one of the rugs down. I'm just showing the transition from hard floor to carpet. It's just not an issue. You notice it missed a bit out the back. Well, it actually comes back and does it, which is what it's doing now. We pulled the carpet up because we didn't need to see that again. And this is obviously tile floors. It doesn't have a problem. The whole room probably takes around about an hour to do, give or take. It depends on how many rooms we open up for it to vacuum, but it does that easily on one charge. But if it was a bigger house, then it would go back, charge, and then go back to where it left off. So that's not going to be an issue either. This is actually footage of it going back to home, but then it realised because of the laser mapping that it had missed a bit. So it actually then took over and completed the carpet, and in fact went into another bedroom where it missed a bit as well. So that side is probably a little bit inefficient, but you know, the upside to that is it doesn't actually leave anything. It just goes back and does it over and over again. So what we're going to come into now after this clip is the mapping. It's laser mapping, and as you can see, it actually penetrates through island benches and everything. So that's how it knows where not to go and where not to bump into. Very rare does it actually bump into stuff to find its way around. The Xiaomi is also shallow enough to be able to go underneath beds, which is often a place that most other vacuum cleaners can't make. So this one here is obviously autonomous. It's a fairly low bed, but it still has no problem with going under it. An area that was never used to get cleaned, so it's actually probably even better than the standard stand-up vacuum cleaner. Okay, so this is the Xiaomi going back to the base. It finds various methods, but the laser mapping is one method, and of course it's got some sort of, I think it's infrared actually on the base itself. So it just finds it, lines itself up, turns around, and then reverses into it, much like spooning. When it's actually all over with, it tells us that it's finished, and you empty the dust basin. Now the dust bin, you can buy parts for this, so I've already got 3 or 4 filters. It tells you when the filter needs replacing, it tells you when anything needs replacing, when the sensors need wiping down. So that's no issue, that's all on the app when you download it. This is an idea of how much dust is in there. This is just after 2 days and hard floors, so you can imagine how much more would actually be on carpet if you left it for a week. So it actually does a really good job every time. This is the app when you download it. It's for Android or for Apple, it doesn't really matter. I'm running an iPhone, and on the interface this is what it looks like. You can customize it. I've obviously named this vacuum cleaner Debbie. For older people like me, you understand what that means. This is actually other products, so it's actually quite a big company. It's just not well known in the Western world as well as Australia anyway. So this is what it looks like in when you actually go into the Debbie interface or the Xiaomi interface. Now the first one I'm going to show you now is actually the remote control. I've used this once, it works perfectly. It's just like you can use a joystick type thing, so that works really well as well. This is the previous mapping it did of the whole house, so it's, you know, it's not a small area, and it cleans it perfectly. And this next one was just for the demo purposes, so you can see how far the mapping goes, and the white marker is actually where it actually went before I sent it back home. Hope you liked it. Please click subscribe if you want to hear more about other stuff.